Welcome to InfoHub Recap, where we focus on the top issues for the past week. In our headlines, a high-level ministerial team visited the Noble Bob Douglas drill ship. As thousands take part in May Day rally, President Granger assures that the government is working in their best interest. Head of State says money laundering fight must be strengthened by the rule of law. Delegates at CFATF conference advised to be guardians of their country's financial institution, and commemorative centenary stamp honoring former President Dr. Cheddi Jagan unveiled. Stay tuned for the details of these and more. Londoners have been charged by President David Granger to make the town an example of commerce. InfoHub was in the mining town for the Trade Fair town activities. Delicia Haynes brings us that report.
The Linden Trade Fair and Exposition was officially launched on Friday, April 27. As he officially opened the trade fair, President Granger described the community as the gateway to the rest of Guyana and urged that Linden become an example of commerce.
This exhibition is an opportunity for innovation so that we stop being hewers of wood and become manufacturers of furniture. This exhibition is an opportunity for us to be innovative, to get out of the old mindset of just mining and producing raw materials.
Vice President of the Linden Chamber of Industry, Commerce and Development, Lyndon Young, spoke of the event's prior success.
We have seen success stories from being a part of events like the one we are presently engaged in, because we would have seen our local products on shelves in supermarkets in and outside of Linden. I would like to echo some words from the Minister of State, Mr. Joseph Harmon, in his message last Sunday at the opening ceremony of the Linden Tongue Week 2018, that he would like to see the Made in Linden brand on products on the shelves in supermarkets in and outside of Guyana.
The Linden Exposition and Trade Fair 2018 ran from April 27 to 29 and was hosted by the Linden Chamber of Industry, Commerce and Development with support from the Linden Mayor and Town Council. For InfoHub, Delicia Haynes.
A high-level ministerial team visited the Noble Bob Douglas drill ship to have a first-hand look at the deep-sea operations and to officially welcome the captain and crew to Guyana.
Speaking on behalf of the team, Minister of Natural Resources Raphael Trotman thanked the crew for their work in fast-tracking Guyana to first oil in 2020 and said the team was impressed with the emphasis on safety. The drill ship has begun work on the production phase and is on a 3-year contract which will run through to 2021. Minister of State Joseph Harmon, who is part of the ministerial team, said at his recent post-cabinet press conference that the arrival of the Noble Bob Douglas signals the escalation of developments in the industry. It was noted that this ship is significantly larger and more versatile than the Stena Carron that is used primarily to drill exploratory wells. The Noble Bob Douglas will be involved in the drilling of injection and extractive wells. Minister of Finance Winston Jordan, Minister of Public Infrastructure David Patterson, and Minister of Business Dominic Gaskin were also part of the ministerial team. The team was joined by Director of Public Information Imran Khan, ExxonMobil Country Manager Rod Henson, ExxonMobil Upstream Manager Doug McGee, and Noble's Drilling Superintendent Curtis Chandler. For InfoHub, Stacey Carmichael.
Residents of Matthews Ridge have been assured that they will see a boost in infrastructural and other developments with the return of mining in the community. Minister of Natural Resources Raphael Trotman was in the community recently. Crystal Stahl brings us that report.
The road is going to be improved. We're going to have to refurbish the hospital. We're going to have to do work on other facilities. Mr. Chairman, you should be pleased to know that this entire sub-region is going to be lifted up.
Minister Trotman met with residents to update them on the manganese project and to listen to their concerns. Kenneth Jones, resident of Matthews Ridge, said the return of the mining to the community provides much-needed employment opportunities.
There are a number of young people here who I think need employment, and it will be a good opportunity for them to grasp it and fit into some section of the manganese company.
Clarice Mendonza, another resident, said she would like to see Guyana Manganese Incorporated assist in the development of the community's health, education, and agriculture sectors.
We're not asking for not depending on them wholly and solely, but at least they can assist us.
Manganese mining began in the regional sub-district some 50 years ago under Reunion Manganese Incorporated. The return of manganese mining on the Guyana Manganese Incorporated is expected to see some 600 persons in the community and wider region benefiting from employment when production begins in the second quarter of 2019. Crystal Stahl for InfoHub.
Minister of Business Dominic Gaskin has expressed satisfaction with the growing numbers of young entrepreneurs embracing the concept of agro-processing. He was speaking at the Uncapped Trade and Agro-Processing Fair at the Providence Cricket Stadium on Sunday. Crystal joins us again.
The business minister also noted the efforts being made by the local manufacturers and producers to improve their products' presentation.
I think they understand the importance of good packaging. They also have, I think, a greater brand awareness than some of us older folks. And therefore, that comes out in their approach to business. And certainly, I've seen an improvement in the quality of our packaging over the last few years.
Exhibitors at the event commended the organizers for creating a platform where they could showcase their products and services to the wider Guyanese public.
I think it is an exceptionally great idea for us to display our local products, the products that we have as Guyanese, the unique tastes that we have.
It's very nice. I think it's a very nice idea that they're actually trying to market some of our local produce, because Guyana has a lot of talent.
It's nice. It's a good exposure. Give us the local entrepreneurs to market our stuff.
The ones that I've visited so far are very interesting stuff. They are, especially the agriculture part.
Marketplace Uncapped is expected to be held in other regions of the country throughout the year. Crystal Stahl for InfoHub.
The nation's workers were assured by President David Granger that the government is working in their interest. The president and ministers of government met with union leaders and members at their headquarters during Labor Day observations. Tiffany Rodius has the details.
So when you hear we're in office for nearly 3 years, you're talking about over $30 billion just to bail out the sugar industry. So that has soaked up a lot of the revenue that we had hoped to deploy to other sectors of the economy. But you are foremost in our thoughts. We think of you, we think of the circumstances under which you had to live for the past quarter century. So we've been trying within our limited resources to make life better for ordinary working people.
The president and his team visited the Guyana Teachers Union, the Guyana Local Government Workers Union, the Postal and Telecommunications Union, the Public Service Union, and the Clerical and Commercial Workers Union in observation of Labor Day.
So my brothers and sisters, things can only get better. You have a strong union, you have good relations with the union, we have very respectful relations with the union. So we ask that you continue to support our union, continue to support investment in Guyana, all around the country, only on Friday, and in Linden. People are doing magic with their hands. The amount of things you can do with money, the amount of things you can do with simple agricultural commodities. People are learning not only to be employed, but to seek employment, but to employ themselves.
The president was accompanied by ministers of government during his visits. The theme for this year's Labor Day observation is Advancing Solidarity, Promoting Employment and Decent Work. Reporting for InfoHub, Tiffany Rogers.
Still on Labor Day, hundreds of workers marched from Middle Street to the National Park as they celebrated their victories, commemorated their history, and rallied for change. More in this Renata LaFleur report.
The march was led by ministers of government and officials who had a special message for workers across Guyana.
Hold forth, stand fast, stay in solidarity. And they know that they have a favorable government. They know that they have a government that is a working class government and a government that looks after workers' rights.
As the minister responsible for labor, I'm doubly happy because this government has done everything to encourage the working class to have their voices heard.
I just want to encourage workers in all settings to unite, to remain in solidarity, and just remember that your government is working towards bettering your working conditions.
So I'm here today in solidarity with workers. Without workers, there's no Guyanans. So Guyana, we depend upon the workers, and so I'm proud of workers. Thanks to be out here. I'm happy to be out here with the working class of people.
I would want to say that as president of the Guyana Trades Union Congress, we have come a far way because we're here standing on the shoulders of people like Critchlow, Polydor, Gordon Todd, and so many others. And we are going to continue this fight.
Let's celebrate the workforce and continue to support them so that we can develop at a faster pace in this country.
Workers from all jurisdictions participated in the march.
As a young worker myself, to also lead, meet and greet with older workers who've been in the system for longer than I am. So I'm really excited to be here today.
I'm happy to be out here to support our labor union. And to keep the flow going, we hope for betterment in our workplace and everything.
This is our day, we should celebrate it with no politics, just being workers, being together.
The May Day rally was held under the theme Advancing Solidarity, Promoting Employment and Decent Work. From the National Park, Renata LaFleur for InfoHub.
Zanil Williams now tells us that as the East Bank of Berbice Road project continues, street lamps will be installed in the coming weeks.
Resident engineer Joel Tucker, who is overseeing the $1.2 billion road rehabilitation project, explained that street lamps will be installed from Stanleytown all the way to Everton Village, covering some 5.5 kilometers of road.
The relocation of utilities is ongoing, commencing, I believe, at the first week in March. GWI is currently on the ground working. We expect GT&T and GPL to be on the ground very shortly. The installation of road lighting is about 90% complete. All the poles have been installed. All the fixtures for the lights are in place. We only await the electrification and the placement of the lamps for this project to be completed.
Minister within the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, Annette Ferguson, conducted a first-hand assessment of the road project on Monday, April 30th. 400 meters out of the 5 kilometers of road has been completed with asphalt. Works have been completed in Glasgow, Edinburgh, and Islington. The minister also highlighted some other aspects of the project.
We will be doing some culverts, 2 culverts with and 3 bridges, concrete reinforced bridges. So, as I said before, the works are moving apace.
Some residents said that the project has ensured their commute is now hassle-free.
I feel great about this. For a long time we were waiting for this and we're finally having it.
It's been very difficult for the longest while for commuters to use this road, whether motor vehicle, estate lorry, or people, passengers, human being in the whole. In Region 6 here, I can see a lot of changes concerning building of the roads.
From Edinburgh, East Bank, Berbice, Zanil Williams for InfoHub.
A commemorative centenary stamp honoring the birth anniversary of former President Dr. Cheddi Jagan was officially unveiled at the Ministry of the Presidency.
Speaking at the launch held at the Ministry of the Presidency, Director of the Cheddi Jagan Research Center, Haidar Ali, said the stamp is indeed a fitting tribute to the late Dr. Jagan.
It's a fitting tribute to a man who dedicated his entire life for a peaceful, progressive, and democratic Guyana.
The stamp is being produced and designed by the Intergovernmental Phylactic Cooperation.
Chairman of the Guyana Post Office Corporation, Reverend Raphael Messiah, described Dr. Jagan as one of the founders of the Guyanese nation.
I would like to also characterize this launch as a sign of hope for this nation. A sign of hope that his true aspirations of working for the nation could be realized.
Chetty Bart Jagan was born on March 22, 1918 at Plantation Port Moran, British Guyana, and passed away on the 6th of March, 1997. He was the first elected Chief Minister in 1953 and later Premier of British Guyana from 1961 to 1964. He later served as President from 1992 to 1997. Stamps will be available from tomorrow at all post offices countrywide. Zanil Williams for InfoHub.
The high-level Caribbean Financial Action Task Force's Judges and Prosecutors Conference was held from May 2 to 4 in Georgetown at the Pegasus Hotel. At the opening of the conference, President David Granger said that the fight against money laundering must be strengthened by the rule of law. Stacey Carmichael brings us the details.
President David Granger, delivering remarks at the opening of the CFATF Judges and Prosecutors Conference today, said the rule of law must be fortified in the fight against terrorist financing and money laundering if it is to be successful. The Caribbean, he pointed out, given its geographic location, has today become a haven for financial pirates, privateers, and money launderers.
Present-day transnational criminal cartels possess the means to corrupt public officials and the motivation to undermine the institutions which sustain the rule of law. Present-day information communication technologies can facilitate the transfer of financial assets across the borders at the speed of light. Illicit proceeds can contaminate the voluminous transactions which take place within our country's financial systems.
In this regard, the head of state stressed the importance of safeguarding the criminal justice system of states from the subversion of organized crime.
Robust legislation and sturdy institutions are the weapons in the war against financial crimes. Guyana embarked on a path of passing legislation to counter financial crimes 18 years ago. Such legislation has corrected deficiencies in the anti-money laundering and countering the financing of terrorism regime and allowed for the improvement of compliance with the standards imposed by the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force.
Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Basil Williams noted that the work of judges and prosecutors is critical to consolidating stable and effective institutions of integrity, transparency, and the rule of law. These features, the AG said, are the pillars of a robust anti-money laundering regime.
This workshop, the first of its kind to be held in our region, seeks to provide a platform for gathering and sharing experiences, challenges, and best practices in investigating and prosecuting money laundering and terrorist financing, as well as depriving criminals of their proceeds.
Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu, Minister of Public Security Kemraj Ramjatan, Chancellor of the Judiciary Justice Yonet Cummings Edwards, and other ministers of government were also in attendance. For InfoHub, Stacey Carmichael.
Still on news coming out of the conference, Alexis Rodney tells us that the judges and prosecutors of the Commonwealth member countries were urged to be guardians of their country's financial institutions.
The charge was given by Commonwealth Secretary General, the Right Honourable Baroness Patricia Scotland, during her address at the opening of the CFATF workshop for judges and prosecutors being held at the Pegasus Hotel. According to Scotland, money is the lifeblood of violent extremism. Judges and prosecutors, she said, are in the position to safeguard their country's financial agencies.
So we have a duty to be vigilant guardians, protecting the safety and well-being of all our people and ensuring that we have the capacity to safeguard our institutions in order to prevent them from being exploited by criminal and terrorist purposes.
She said the sources of these fundings are diverse and flow with what she said are constantly shifting channels of distributions. Scotland said when one revenue stream is closed, another is opened.
And to stem the supply that sustains terrorism and violent extremism, We have to ensure that we have the best and the most up-to-date legal and criminal justice tools available.
The confab, she said, will serve as an excellent opportunity for the legal luminaries to deepen their understanding through the exchange of ideas on the regional and global dimensions of money laundering, terrorism financing, countering violent extremism, and the recovery of the proceeds of corruption. Alexis Rodney for InfoHub.
In this Isaiah Braffett report, we hear that the establishment of a $10 million crab and fish processing facility was well received by residents of Smith Creek, Morowana, and Imbutero in Region 1.
Minister within the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs, Valerie Garrido-Lowe, said the undertaking is in keeping with an objective to develop small industries in the hinterland regions. She underscored that it will resolve the challenges residents face in finding market for the excess stock of fish and crabs not sold at the local market.
You don't need government or any organization who feel sorry for you and give you a spade and an axe and a motor and a machine for the rest of your life. You need to be able to get the opportunity to earn your own money like anybody else.
The minister explained that the residents will also receive technical support from the Fisheries Department to ensure that the operations of the facility are in keeping with international standards. Residents have been given 3 weeks to find a suitable location on which to construct the facility. Nevertheless, they welcome the initiative by the ministry.
It is good. I see it as something that when we as past and gone, the youngster that living in Imbutero, they were able not to have to live in poverty no more, but they will rise from there, and I think they will able to earn good living, independently living, you know, that living they were able to live better than the old generation, and that is what we're looking forward.
A lot of people depend on the crab and the fishes down here for make a livelihood. I know it's a very good thing, right? And it will help a lot of people. And also the young people, and the children, and everybody will earn a little money to send the children to school and other things.
The ministry is also carrying out a similar venture in Moruca to redevelop the coffee industry. Another successful small industry venture is the Pacaraimos Flavor Project. This value-added project focuses on the production of organic, sun-dried tomatoes and salad dressings. Isaiah Braffett for InfoHub.
We now tell you that there will be more relief for farmers and residents of New Friendship Vigilance on the east coast of Demerara as a new pump was commissioned.
Addressing those gathered at a formal ceremony to mark the commissioning of a $240 million drainage pump station at Friendship Vigilance, the minister said,
"The government of Guyana, through the Ministry of Agriculture, remains committed to flood risk management for the economic and social well-being of the Guyanese people, and gives us assurance that it will continue to implement aggressive plans and civil works to undertake investments, maintenance, and future planning in drainage and irrigation."
Meanwhile, chairman of the Buxton Falls Neighborhood Democratic Council, Forbes Abrams, says that the installation and commissioning of the new facility, coupled with works at back of the village, represents a new beginning for the communities following decades of neglect by previous governments.
I am hopeful that when all the works are completed, that we will realize in this area significant expansion in our agricultural output, whether it be in the area of crops or livestock. I'm absolutely optimistic that time will come when we will have grown to the extent that we will need to establish cold storage facilities and warehouses for our abundant production.
The new pump station represents the second to be commissioned on the east coast of Demerara. It has one 70.6 cubic pump with capacity to discharge water at a rate of 31,700 gallons per minute. For InfoHub, Stefan Gabriel.
We end our weekly review with this report from Stefan Gabriel, who tells us that one of Linden's main attractions, its Blue Lake, is the perfect weekend getaway destination, drawing many visitors and residents alike.
The lake is one of many that draws residents and visitors alike. Persons flock the location during the recent Tongue Week celebrations to enjoy music, food, and most importantly, family time. Chemical engineer Dion Anderson, who is responsible for promoting the lake, tells us how he discovered it.
One of my usual
so-called voyages throughout Linden, and because I'm a nature person and a nature lover, and we were able to just take a drive through here, and we saw the beach, the Blue Lake, as I refer to as the Blue Beach a lot. And after seeing this, we realized that this is just a pristine area, untouched, that we should actually maximize to showcase Guyana and Linden, specifically Linden's tourism potential.
Some of the visitors enjoying a day at the lake shared their views.
Well, we were all on vacation and enjoying the tongue week, and I don't know to swim, but we decided to come here this afternoon to have some fun. And you know, it's very nice to know we have such a wonderful atmosphere here. It's somewhere that you can come and relax, away from home. You know.
Well, I was inspired to come here because I was advised that it's a nice place, and I came to look at it and the sceneries and what have you. I have found it very beautiful. This is Guyana.
Well, actually, I come to do a little flicking, you know, but they're going to go so far, you know, expecting the rain, but everything turned to the best, thank God.
No, we enjoying it. Like to come out here, do the dance and everything, having lots of fun.
For those persons interested in spending a relaxing time at the lake, getting there is easy. After entering the town, you proceed along the main road until you approach the first yellow bridge. Make an immediate left, then park at the first clearing, then follow the 2-minute trail that takes you directly to the lake. These blue lakes have always been one of Linden's main attractions, and their potential for tourism development in the mining town is huge, ensuring that it can indeed become a world-rated tourist destination. For InfoHub, Stefan Gabriel.
That has brought us to the end of another edition of InfoHub Recap. Thanks for watching. Please join us again next week.